On February 14th, 2014, a crowded hair salon in Gloucester, England suddenly turned into the scene of a brutal crime. Customers were sitting in chairs. Stylists were working. The evening felt completely normal. Then a man walked in. Within less than 2 minutes, a young woman named Hollie Gazzard was stabbed 14 times in front of her colleagues and clients. She was only 20 years old. The man responsible wasn't a stranger. It was her ex-boyfriend, a man with a long history of violence that she never fully knew about, a man who refused to let her leave. And by the time police realized just how dangerous he was, it was already too late. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Hollie Gazzard was known by everyone around her as energetic, friendly, and full of life. She grew up in Gloucester, England, surrounded by a close and supportive family. Her father, Nick, described her as someone who could light up a room the moment she walked into it. Hollie had always loved creativity and fashion, and that passion eventually led her into the world of hairdressing. By the time she was 20 years old, she was already working in a local beauty salon called Reflections Hairdressers. Her co-workers instantly loved her. She was chatty, funny, and incredibly talented. Clients trusted her. Friends admired her. And her family were proud of the independent young woman she had become. Hollie was also known for constantly changing her hairstyle. One week it might be bright red. Another week it could be blonde. Sometimes shaved. Sometimes styled in completely new ways. For Hollie, hair was a way of expressing herself, and she loved every second of it. But Hollie had even bigger dreams. She wanted to travel. She wanted to see the world. So when she finished her apprenticeship, she decided to apply for a job as a hairstylist on a cruise ship. When she was accepted, she was beyond excited. The job would allow her to travel across the Caribbean for 9 months while doing what she loved. Her family supported her decision, even though they were a little nervous about her traveling alone. Still, they believed in her. Everything about Hollie's life seemed to be moving in the right direction. But just before she left for that cruise, she met someone who would change everything. Around the time Hollie was preparing to leave for the cruise ship job, she took a part-time job at a local bar. It was there that she met 21-year-old Asha Maslin. Maslin was from a nearby town and occasionally worked as a security guard. At first glance, he seemed charming, confident, talkative. He had what many people described as the gift of the gab. And from the moment he saw Hollie, he became interested in her. According to her friends, he was very persistent. He constantly tried to talk to her. He complimented her, asked for her number, and eventually she gave it to him. Soon after that, they started going on dates. At first, everything seemed exciting. Hollie told her friends about him. They went out for meals together. They spent a lot of time talking, and the relationship developed quickly. But even early on, there were signs that something wasn't quite right. Hollie told a friend that Maslin could be intense. He came on very strong. He wanted to spend all his time with her. And sometimes he didn't seem to take no for an answer. Still, Hollie believed things would work out, because when things were good, they felt very good. And soon, she introduced him to her parents. When Hollie brought Maslin home to meet her family, her parents tried to keep an open mind. Her father, Nick, described Maslin as confident and talkative, almost overly confident. He seemed like the type of person who liked being the center of attention. Hollie's mother had actually heard of him before. She worked at a local school and knew that Maslin had a reputation for being a bit of a troublemaker when he was younger. But nothing they knew at the time suggested just how dangerous he really was. What they didn't know was that Maslin already had a long history of arrests. He had been arrested more than 20 times. Many of those incidents involved violence, domestic abuse, and serious assault. But none of that information was visible to Hollie. And without knowing his past, the relationship continued. Soon after meeting him, Hollie left for her cruise ship job. It was something she had been dreaming about for years. But something strange happened almost immediately after she left. Just 1 week into the trip, Hollie wanted to come home. Hollie contacted her father, and asked him to arrange flights back to England. Her family were shocked. This was something she had worked so hard for. When they asked why she wanted to come home so quickly, Hollie said she was homesick. But later, her family began to suspect something else. They believed Maslin had been constantly contacting her while she was away. Calls, messages, FaceTime, over and over again. It appeared that he had been pressuring her to come back. And eventually, she did, just days after returning home. She reunited with him. But this time, things started to change. Maslin began showing a much darker side of his personality. He became extremely possessive. He constantly wanted to know where Hollie was, who she was with, what she was doing. Her friends started noticing that he would appear unexpectedly when they were out. One night, Hollie went out with friends in Gloucester. Suddenly, Maslin showed up outside the nightclub. He demanded she leave with him. When she refused, he became angry. He argued with her repeatedly throughout the night, and he wouldn't leave her alone. Her friends could see the tension building, but Hollie tried to brush it off. She believed she could handle it. However, the controlling behavior continued, and soon things would turn violent. During the Notting Hill Carnival in London, the couple became separated in the crowd. Hollie had taken Maslin's young nephew to the restroom. She was only gone for a few minutes. But when Maslin couldn't find her, he became furious. When he finally saw her again, he lost control. In front of others, he pushed her to the ground. It was the first time he had physically hurt her. For Hollie, it was a turning point. She called her father the next day. She asked him to come pick her up, and she returned home to Gloucester. At that moment, it seemed like she might finally escape the relationship, but Maslin wasn't finished. Even after Hollie moved back home, Maslin continued contacting her. Constantly, he called, texted, showed up unexpectedly. He even appeared outside her workplace. Hollie tried to move forward with her life. She got a new job at another hair salon. She spent more time with her family, but Maslin refused to let go. Eventually, the pressure became overwhelming. Hollie decided it was time to end the relationship for good. On Valentine's Day in 2014, Hollie arranged to meet Maslin at a restaurant. She chose a public place because she didn't want to be alone with him. During the conversation, she told him the truth. She didn't want to be with him anymore. Maslin reacted with anger. He yelled at her, called her cold-hearted, and followed her outside when she tried to leave. There, he stole her bank card and withdrew money from her account. After that, his messages became threatening. He told her he would harm her. He even threatened her family. That was when Hollie finally went to the police. They began searching for Maslin, but before they could arrest him, something terrible was about to happen. On February 17, 2014, Hollie was working at the Salon in Gloucester. Her coworkers knew about the situation with Maslin. They had agreed that if he showed up, they would call the police immediately. That evening, around 6:30 p.m., Maslin walked toward the salon. He had just purchased a 12-inch kitchen knife. Inside the salon, everything seemed normal. Clients were getting their hair done. Stylists were chatting. But within moments, chaos erupted. Maslin attacked Hollie. In less than 2 minutes, he stabbed her 14 times. Customers screamed. Staff ran for help. But the attack was too severe. Hollie was rushed to Gloucester Royal Hospital. She was pronounced dead shortly after. She was only 20 years old. After the attack, Maslin fled the scene. Police launched a massive search. 8 hours later, he was found at a friend's house and arrested. During the trial at Gloucester Crown Court, Maslin showed little remorse. The court heard details of his history of violence and his obsession with Hollie. In 2015, he was found guilty of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison. But for Hollie's family, no sentence could undo the loss they suffered. Hollie Gazzard was remembered as someone who brought joy to the people around her, a talented stylist, a loving daughter, a loyal friend. Her story has since become a powerful reminder of the dangers of coercive control and domestic abuse. In her memory, Hollie's family created the Hollie Gazzard Trust, an organization that helps raise awareness about domestic violence and supports victims who may be trapped in dangerous relationships. Because sometimes the most dangerous person in someone's life is the one they once trusted the most.